right. So I'm here to just give you a very brief introduction on how to become a freelancer. A lot of people are definitely interested in this. So firstly, just let me just introduce myself to you guys. Hello, everybody. My name is Maltreyee Kalaskar. I'm based in Bangalore, India. I am an independent art director, designer, and illustrator. I have worked with a lot of agencies like Oliver Agency as well. And I've worked on a lot of brands from Budweiser, Hoegaarden, Corona, Samsung, UCLA, ADPLS, Grave Beauty, and much more. And I absolutely love doing it. I've been doing it for such a long time. And when I was also doing my 9 to 5, I was still doing my freelancing at the side, which we'll get into it in more depth afterwards. But yeah, I know it looks like a lot of things I do at the same time, which is art direction, design, and illustration. But I think you need to, get the idea of everything before you start art direction of sorts. Um, but as you are seeing, it's called independent in front of me and not freelance anymore, kind of. So I'll just tell you what it is about. So independent designer and freelance designer, people are usually kind of thinking about what's the difference, because we see both of it on a lot of people's resumes or like portfolios or LinkedIn. So I'll just give you a small in-depth like a meaning of what it is about. So freelance designers are usually hired by an agency or a company, right? So if you're a freelance designer, you would usually go to an agency saying that, I have so and so services for you. I am a photographer, I'm an illustrator, a designer, a UI UX designer, a freelance designer. So you guys can hire me for one of your clients. So that's freelancing. And independent designer is when you start getting your own clients. So you are like a small business in your own. So when it comes to independent designer, you are like one person army, you are your own business. You're not freelancer anymore. You are just taking the world by storm kind of thing. So there's no middleman, right? A freelancer usually has a middleman, which is the agency or the company. So there are things in common for sure. They both are usually on short-term or temporary employment. For example, an independent art director like me, I'm usually hired for projects for 2 months, 3 months, even like one project which can last for 1 week or 2 weeks. Freelancers are usually the same things. They can also be on like retainer basis, booked or hired for projects, like I said. So if, for example, if you are doing a packaging project for Budweiser or somebody, right? You can just be hired for, oh, you have to package this bottle or this carton, and that's it. So that project can go on for like 5 months or 2 days. So you're just hired for that one specific project. And it can be on site or work from home situation for long-term contracts, which has happened a lot. For long-term contracts, you're usually hired on retainer basis. So sometimes offices don't have the capacity in their office for freelancers, and sometimes they feel like an outside help would be really great. So I have worked with a lot of agencies whose clients are like, I'm Indian, right? I'm based out of India. But for example, if their client, they are from abroad, like the agency is not from India, but their client is from India. So it is great for them to hire someone who is based out of India, the same country as the client is, but on a long-term basis. So they are not like a full-time employee. As long as the client is working with them, the freelancer works with them as well. So those are the things. There are, of course, like everything comes with pros and cons. And I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, you're a freelancer, so good for you, you live your life at your best and you can just sip whatever, like coladas on like a beach somewhere. It's like, it's not like that. Trust me, it's not at all like that. So pros and cons do come in a different things. Like pros are, for example, exploring new things. You get to work with so many clients or so many different projects at the same time. But when you're at a 9 to 5, you're just working on one or two clients for the, like, usually for a long period of time, because you know the client, and you can switch things when you are an independent or a freelance designer. um, Networking is really great, because most of your business is because of great networking skills that you have. So networking is really great. You are going to meet a lot of designers, art directors, creative directors, CEOs of different companies, agencies, and I'll definitely come back to it on how you can do that. um, and you can increase your rates far more often than you can on your 9 to 5, because you're your own boss and you can just say, you know what, this is the company's charges and I've been working on a couple of these projects for the past 2 3 months and now it's time to hike it. Or not even hike it from your own perspective, but if you get high class clients like Amazon, Apple, or Samsung, or all of those, they have higher budgets because they have higher risks in their work for sure that you are doing for them. So you can increase your rates, and you are your own boss, which is great. You can say bye bye to a toxic client when you feel like it. That's a great thing about that. Cons: work uncertainty, which is the thing is that it's not stable at all. At all. Trust me, I've been there. I've had like anxiety attacks when I was starting out. I still do. It's you don't have the stability. Like some months you're not gonna earn anything perhaps, but the next month you'll earn like the whole year salary for you. You know, you never know what is going to come in your palette. So that's this uncertainty usually we have to go through. Delay in getting paid. This thing is completely upon you, the company you're working for, the client, and the contracts you have drawn. I'll again come back to it soon, in the next slides. um, no company benefits. I think in the US you have the 401s. You cannot get that. Dental, nothing. No work holidays or anything. As a freelancer, it's pretty tough in that section because people might be on holidays, and because you're a freelancer, sometimes you are kind of there just working when no one is. And hustle for work, it's every day 9 to 5, and you have to just work for the on paper thing, like you have done all these things, you have sit through all these meetings. So it's just hustle for not just work that you're doing, but I think the level you are in that company, for sure. I mean, that goes on without saying. But people do forget, when you're doing the freelancing or independent designer, you're still a business owner. Even if you're doing a freelancing through an agency, don't forget that at all. So usually, what do businesses do, right? They network. You've always seen these amazing networking sessions that, CEOs and everybody goes through for like getting clients or getting audiences and everything. So yes, you're doing the same thing. You're getting your work through network. Even if you're doing freelancing through network, you're going to find better agencies, better studios to work with, and better clients. I have worked with an agency before, a lot of times, still did, even recently. And I have worked with that same agency as my client. So I created their brand guidelines, the agency's brand guidelines, because they were like, oh, it's like designing logo for yourself is always the hardest part. So they couldn't crack it down for 2 years or something. And with someone else's, like a third perspective, it's much more easier when you do it. So I even worked with them as my client. So you never know, like networking can take you anywhere. Negotiating, of course, you're going to negotiate your rates, and how much you're going to take, and is it going to increase. NDAs, contracts, everything does come into it. Pitching for sure comes into it. Pitching is something of a skill that you learn as you go. I think it's an experience thing. Pitching your services is very important, of what you can do, how you can solve their problems. If you have a process, what your process is. It's all of these things come under pitching. More than one client, right? Because in freelancing, you are not stuck with one. So as businesses do, they have a lot of clients. You'll do the same in freelancing, and as an independent designer. Working for project basis, which is great. I feel like working on project basis is amazing. A lot of people are scared of it because retainer freelancers are always, you get that stability. But project basis, you are focused on one project, and if you feel like saying bye bye to the client afterwards, you can. Invoicing, it's all admin work. I mean, for me, it's pretty boring. But you have to do it, invoicing, sending contracts and NDAs and da, da, da. But hey, yeah, I mean, business do send invoices and you have to keep up with it. So yeah. And collaboration with other creators, which is really fun, like super fun. I mean, in your community, I'm sure it's always amazing to meet new designers and new creative heads, right? And when you do it, especially directly working with them in a project, did someone say anything? Hello?
Nope, I think we're good. Maybe accidentally.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, just collaborating with other creators is always amazing on projects because you're working with other freelancers, other in-house designers in their own company or agency. And it's amazing how they work, to see their process, something that you can add to your own process. As a freelancer, you're always from the outside of any agency or a company. So to get a sneak peek on how the industry is working right now is always amazing. So for me, why did I quit my 9 to 5? So in case if you're in your same zone that I was when I quit, so I was a graphic designer, like a full-time graphic designer at an agency, a studio, design studio, for 2 years almost. And yeah, it was a small studio, and I worked with them for 2 years, and on branding projects, on exhibitions they used to do worldwide, and we used to do a lot of packaging and everything. So I used to get my hands dirty on every single field that I get as a client. It can be even like branding for a restaurant, even doing their menus and everything, to designing 3D models for an animation project, to creating kiosks, like the 3D things for you need for an exhibition. It was fun. It was really fun, but I still felt like a lot of my potential was kind of um, not getting used by them, or they didn't know where my skills were at. So working on projects that I didn't like was one of the main things that I left my 9 to 5, because I thought that I could do much more than that, and I didn't feel, there was no satisfaction of that with my 9 to 5. Yes, they taught me a lot of things, but I still thought that, yeah, I can do a much better job. um, and I was working for far too less. I know how much the agency was making, and I was not even getting the point, I mean, like point 0.5, or I don't know, like very far less money as my salary. And I was not even working with that one project per month. I had like multiple clients, and um, yeah, I wasn't making much, and working 9 to 9 mostly. I used to go at 8 and come back at 9, I remember. But I had that passion of learning more, experiencing more, so that I can, when I shoot on my own, right? I have a good experience under my belt, and that did help me a lot for sure. And working for someone else's dream, because they had something of their own, which is great. And their own goals of course came before us, but it kind of felt like, oh, I don't have my own dreams anymore, because they were not colliding at any given route that I saw. It's great. I have seen a lot of designers working for agencies, studios, and companies where their goals and the employees goals kind of match, which is great because the company has amazing resources which you can take advantage of and then go in your own life. But for me, it didn't happen with that specific agency and those CEOs. They were amazing people, but I think my dreams were very different, or my working skills were very different than what they had in mind. So in the end, my passion really burned out, and I felt like I don't have any creativity in me anymore. And I was just pushing the work just for the sake of it, like, oh, get this done, and I used to get it done exactly as they told me without even being creative about it. At that point you kind of understand, oh, I'm not being creative at all, something is wrong for sure. So I was like, you know what, enough is enough. I think I have to start freelancing. And as usual, my first question was how to get clients. And I was like, oh, that's like the first thing, right? Because getting clients, I is one of the hardest things I learned for such a long time. um but I feel, like we said, I think the first and foremost thing that I still do to get clients is networking. The magic lies there. Social medias, internet, we have internet at our fingertips, and we can literally message anybody you know so I think networking definitely helps a lot. So a lot of people do ask me like, how do you usually reach out to people, or how do you get clients through social media? And I think social media presence is very important. Start posting what you do. I know it's a bit tough to show people of what you do, and it can be a bit scary about, because you can get a lot of criticism about it. But it's fine. If the internet is not going to do that for us, then who will, right? So I think getting it as a constructive criticism for your own work is always great. Take it in a positive note. So start posting what you do. Share your work, share everything you've done for that one project, starting from your process to your brainstorming sessions to your mood board. Start posting everything. Trust me, clients are much more interested in your process rather than the end goal. Like and comment on what you do. So for example, if you are doing in the branding and illustration section, right? For your fellow designers who are in branding and illustration section, start liking and commenting. And you just don't have to say, oh, awesome work. You can actually ask them questions like, oh, how did you come up with this menu design that you've done? How effective is it? Did you find any problems when actually new customers came on the app, and did they find it hard? Just ask really insightful questions. And trust me, people who have created it, they are looking for those questions, because they are the people who have created all of this, and no one asked them these questions. People are usually like, oh, awesome work, oh, nice, oh, congratulations, and that's it. So yeah, be like a human, ask questions and create a bond with them. That's how you are going to get a new client or work or referral in the future. Support your fellow creators. Like I said, support them, share their work on your profile. I have gotten a lot of work, or maybe even networks in my really good loyal networks in my networking area, just because I was sharing and supporting fellow creators. So you can just see like, oh, just check what Maitri has done or what Chris has done, and just check this out. And I absolutely love this article that they've written. And you can just point out a couple of things, be genuinely interested in what they do, and join and create groups like you guys have joined this one. Communities are always great, because you never know who has an opportunity that is not maybe so useful for them but might be useful for you. So be in a community, be very active in it. Don't just join it for the sake of it and be silent. Just say hi, say hello, how are you, which coffee are you drinking today? It can be like small things, and be genuinely
Yeah.
interested. So it makes it's a huge difference. And it's just, don't take it as business and seriousness. Just see it as a potential friendships. I think that's the trust is the most important thing when you're getting clients. And um, I think the longest clients I've worked with are now my friends. We have been working together for 4 or 5 years, and every single month. And it's just because we trust each other. And even if my work might not be there yet, there are all these competitors who can easily replace me, um, with the work that I'm giving them or the services that I'm giving them. But just because they trust me, just because they know me, it would be very hard for them to start and build the trust again with a new designer. So, be genuinely interested. So, want to understand about social media. I think there are a lot of influencers out there who talk about in depth of it, from algorithm on how you should post, and what's trending, if reels are trending and that is trending. Learn new things. Even these big people, are still learning, because algorithms are changing, internet is changing, social medias are changing every single day. So they are on top of it, and they are there to tell you about it. So start following them, and they can definitely teach you a bit about how social media works and what you should be doing. Take everything with a grain of salt, for sure. See what works with you, what doesn't work with you. Try new things, and yeah, just customize it for yourself.
I
So
love
things
Gary, by the
I
way.
Yeah,
Gary
which one?
is very
Gary,
fun
yeah,
to
Gary.
follow
Yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah,
He's very
for sure.
visionary.
Yeah, I
Has a lot
agree.
of. Mhm.
And he
So
goes pretty in depth, and he's just like, what, do it. Sometimes we need people in our life to just say, what, do it, rather than, oh, are you stuck? We don't want those people. Our moms can say the same thing to us, right? So sometimes we want like a very strict person to just say, what, do it, post it. What's the
right.
worst that can happen? So yeah, I think we want people like him for sometimes just pushing
Yeah.
us. Yeah, so things I applied, it's very simple, like ask answer approach kind of a approach I take, which is much fun. So what you usually ask is that you ask a company, a client, an agency, oh, like I have this work, or this services for you. Um, do you have any projects for me? And they have usually a lot of questions that, oh, can you do this, can you do that, do you have your portfolio, can you do a small project for us, just to see if we can work on that, answer all of that, the solutions that they have, and then you can just approach them. So a lot of times I also use ask answer and approach on your side as well, which is ask yourself on what you want to do, right? See if there are any issues in your own portfolio that doesn't work. Answer those things, like solve your own problems first. Like, this is the thing that is not working for me, which is like people are not understanding what I'm working, and people are not understanding what my portfolio stands for. It's all about like photography, from like designing to UI to UX and everything. So have narrow your questions down to your own issues down first, answer those issues with your own goals and what you want to do on the long term thing, and approach the clients. This can work both ways. So how I did it, so I've worked with Grave Beauty for such a long time, and she's amazing. She has worked with a lot of big um, I mean, she's a bomb. So Leah, you have been working with her for like 4 or 5 years now, and I just reached out to her. I was very genuinely interested in what she does. She, for all these years, she just has 4 products in her inventory, and a lot of celebrities from like big celebrity names have used her products and have given her a shout out. Vogue has printed her products, and she has won awards for it, and she does a really good job. And I really liked what she did and her approach towards the skincare industry. And I just was very curious. I reached out to her and I showed her what I can do. And when they ask you what you can do, you cannot show Budweiser's work to Apple, right? It would be very odd for Apple to imagine your Budweiser work. So, for example, imitating clients' work is always great. So, what I mean by that, it's not exactly copy and paste, right? Which is like, these are the 2 companies I did work for. So Bazana is like a trail mix thing. So their work, I cannot show their work to Crave Beauty because it's completely different. And if I did show that work, they're not going to understand what I can give them or what my solutions are for them. So kind of showing them the pathway that yes, I can do it for you in their own vision, or the things that you can, or design senses that you can bring in their own company, is always great, in their own style, in their own fonts, in their own colors, so they can completely understand what you can do for them. Because clients are not designers, right? They want you there because you are a designer. So you don't have to keep them at a guessing game. So show them what you can do. Generate the content, to fit your client, and it's such a personal touch for them. Like, oh, you did all of this so that you can show me what you can do for me. And it's like that um one spot of like hard working that they see from your end, which is always great, right? So for example, if you want to go for logo designing clients, you can always upload more logos on your Behance portfolio. You don't always have to have a website, okay? Don't worry about it right now. If you're just starting out, a Behance or an Instagram page works great, Dribble works great. Start posting the field that you feel like working. So for example, if you're working in logos, start posting logos, create concept brands. If you don't have any if you don't have any company right now that you're working with, an actual client you created logo for, it's completely fine. We have AI to give you briefs. Just type into a Notion AI or Chat GPT, just ask them, like, give me a design brief to create a brand, like brand design or identity for um, a beverage or FMCG brand, and create the branding for them, upload the whole project and start promoting your work. If you want to go in illustrations, create concept projects, again, post on social media, follow other illustrations, people who do illustrations, and ask for collaborations. There are a lot of illustrators or even designers who need illustrations, right? So you don't have to directly go to clients per se. You can just go to someone like me who is an art director, right? A freelance art director. I've always have people coming up like, oh, I'm a photographer, do you need my services? Because trust me, people who are into the freelance business on a bit of a senior designer or art director level, they need a lot of other people on the same project. So I need photographers, I need illustrators, I need 3D designers, um, 2D animators, and everyone. So reach out to them, show them your work, see what you can do, and put yourself out there. I think putting yourself out there is the most important thing you can do. It should be very easy for them to reach out to you. It should be very easy for them to um, tell that what you are doing. Once if they start typing in freelance designer, freelance art director, your name should be in the top 10 or something. So start putting yourself out there. It will take time, but play the long game. Play the long game. It's the most safe game that you can play. The short game is like just working for now. Then that means you're not working for a stable future. So yeah, do. Oh, okay.
Sorry, my bad.
It's okay. It's
Sorry.
okay. So yeah, I think clients are always one click away from finding someone else, right? There are a lot of competitors that they are there for you. So I think showing them again, like building the trust with them, being friends with them first, like not buddy, like let's go on for a coffee all the time kind of friends, but showing them that they can trust you for the work that you are doing, and that you are there to exactly provide them with the services that they need. Um, and if you have a good network with yourself, like for example, if you also know someone who does websites and you are the person doing branding and identity design, right, and the client needs both, you can hire the website designer for yourself, or you can share it with the client, so that way the client understands that you have a good network, and that this person has so many resources that even in the future they are going to be very helpful for me. Don't Please do not forget you're a professional. I have seen a lot of people saying, oh, I'm a professional graphic designer, or I'm a professional UI UX person, and they have a family vacation photo in Hawaii or something. No, you're a professional. Take a professional headshot, please. um, this is not like a Facebook for family. Please take a professional photo. um, Keep it very professional. Just treat yourself as someone who is very sincere about what they do, and please don't put LinkedIn photos with you flipping your hair, and please don't. It just doesn't give give a good impression for the client. So yeah, and no copying other artists. So do not copy other artists. Trust me, they will come and they'll sue you for sure. I've seen a lot of people doing that. I've Okay, I'll tell you one thing. um so I had a mentee of me, and she was like, oh, I know a lot of things about branding. I'm like, great, so what do you need my help for? How I can go out there, how I can get clients and everything. I'm like, sure. So I just told her how to get clients and everything, and she got like one amazing client, and they were in the sports industry, I remember, and they needed a logo, and they created similar logo as Puma, the jumping, um, I think it's
Cheetah
a
thing.
black, yeah, cheetah is a
A
Black Panther or something.
panda or cheetah.
Yeah. And they created similar thing, but the other way, because we're being smart and
No.
everything. And Puma came for them. I'm like, you cannot
Oh
do
my
that.
God.
You cannot do that. People don't understand it, and they think they can put everything on the client if anything fails, right? But no, clients just said, oh, that's not our fault. And I just helped her through everything, like, oh, just show the receipts and the emails. So, because you're a professional, please don't go on WhatsApp to seal the deals. Even if you are get screenshots of things that are, of the things that you're discussing with the clients, keep it on emails, make contracts, please make contracts. And communication is the key. So don't seal the deals on the phone. Even if you're sealing it on the phone, make sure you're telling the client to, you know what, I'm sending you like minutes of the meeting after this. Just go through it and give me your approval before we start the project, because clients will do anything and everything to keep themselves out of any trouble, but also make it their way, so in the end, what she did was we just went through a lot of their emails, and we had a lot of receipts where they specifically shared a lot of references of Puma, um, and similar companies, and they were very keen on just doing it on the same note. And then she did, thankfully, I taught my mentee right. She at one email, she just said like, but this is copying. I don't think we should be doing this. Are you still sure you want to go this way? And the client said, yeah, don't worry about it. We want to. And this is what helped her out. And Puma did take some money from them because, of course, you are kind of going on their image, selling your own products, right? So why not? If it was your company and someone was copying your company's logo, you would do the same, right? So trust me, please do not copy any artist or any company's work. People know for sure. Don't worry about it. So and working URL links, please, people, when you're sharing anything on your like resume or LinkedIn or anything, make sure those links are working, because if they are not, the client's not going to spend 2 minutes more to search your own link, which you have given it wrong to them. They'll just go to another competitor. So make sure you're very professional, your account comes as very professional, sincere, and I think you'd be good to go. So be clear when you're presenting your portfolio, right? So like I said, be very clear on what you want to do and which field you want to go to. So for example, like I said, be professional. Like this doesn't shout out. Like you can tell this person is being creative for sure on the right hand side, but you don't understand how professional they are. This just feels like a hobby or something in the end. But on the left, when you see their work specifically, you understand what they do because it's for their own work profile, right? So keep it professional. Keep it how you're presenting yourself on social media is the key. And I've seen a lot of people or professional designers posting their own photos, but what they always do is for illustrators, they'll post maybe this photo, but a lot of illustrations coming out of the back of the person or something. So keeping it creative all the way throughout the whole profile is really great. Um, so portfolio is who you are and what you do. In the end, they don't know specifically what Maltreyee Kalaskar does. So they will just see my vibe through whatever they see on the screen. So show your creative process, show what you've worked on, like very clearly, present it very nicely. Just check out a lot of case studies on how they do it. Present the whys and the hows on why you have done it and how you did it, which is very important, like what the issue was and what you solved, rather than it looked pretty. You can just say because it works this way and it looks pretty. So you can have like your whys and hows about why you did it, and tell your story behind the work. Be a storyteller. We creatives, we love to tell our stories through our work, and tell like why you created the menu this way or why the landing page was like this. Tell, even if it's very obvious to you, it might not be obvious for the client. So tell it. Choose a good platform. I think we have a lot of platforms at this point to choose from. So Behance, Dribble, Instagram, everything, all of these for sure work. But once you have all of these, then I would suggest for you to start your own website, because these are like public um, platforms. So it's much easier for them to join you on a public platform or search you on a public platform directly rather than on your website. Unless and until they have your own website, they are not going to find you that easily, right? Um, so yeah, have all of these linked to your website for like an in-depth work that you have done. If you're in UI UX, create your own website. Don't go for templates for sure. And yeah, for sure, people like seeing what you do and adding personalities to your website, to your illustrations and all the platforms that you create. So for example, I absolutely love Katie, and she is an amazing designer. So you see like her own, when she presents her work, you clearly understand what she does. Even if it's so minimalistic and so simple, you understand what she does with just like one take. And because it is like the online platforms are very simple and very straightforward, you cannot add your own personality, right, to it. So when it comes to her website, she adds that personality to it, right? Do you understand like how I'm saying? Like on the social media platforms, it can be very simple out there in what you do, but on your website, it can just show your whole personality together on how you work and what you are and what you've done about yourself. So feel free to show your own personality or your own story in your website. Um, we are at the end of it, trust me. Okay. So website gives you your full freedom to express yourself, which people absolutely love. People love designers, creative people who have their own personality, who have who are not generic, I would say, who love to tell their own side of the story. So feel free to just go crazy when it comes to your website. Show them what you can do. If you're in web, like in the web whole thing, like website building and UI and UX, show them what you can do. It should be like the most insane amount of work that you have done. That should be your website, because you have no rules there, right? You have nothing to stop you from creating anything because it's for yourself. So show them what crazy stuff you can do. And when they go through your website, they understand, oh, these are all the things that she can do. Especially if you're in website, of course, like photographers and everything, they cannot do it. But if you're not from a web industry, if you're in branding, identity, illustration, photography, show them your personal work that you have done. You have not posted anywhere on the platform. Show them the work that you have done in like do a photo dump if you're a photographer. Just feel free to have your personality attached to the website that you're doing. Oh my god, how to price yourself. It is such an important
Big
thing, and
topic
people
here.
just, yeah,
Very,
and
very.
people just ask like, how do you price yourself? And I mean, there is no like one answer to it for sure. um but charging hourly, I would say, is a big no-no, because I found out, as when I just started out, it was great for me because I was getting charged as much as I was working. But when I started to grow my skills and my
Yeah.
just anything I was exploring and everything, I think I had better experience than a lot of people. So does that mean if I can do certain things for you quickly, I should be getting paid less? Right. So that was the equation that didn't work for me at all. And because after working for all of these years, am really fast with my softwares. So does that mean I should be paid less? No, because I'm giving you a very quick result. That means you should be paying me more. And when people see absurd amount of like $300 per hour kind of thing, they're not there to hire you. So, just don't charge hourly, because when you charge hourly, clients are going to focus more on where you're spending your time. Like, oh, why didn't you work for this half an hour? I just went out to get coffee. Even if you're thinking about the work, they don't want to answer that. They're like, oh, I'm not going to pay for that half an hour. So rather than making it about the project, you will start making it about the hours that you have worked, which is never great. Um, so these are the different ways that you can, price the client. So I think flat pricing is very important. And I think it's the same thing that I still do. Price brackets are great. Um, Segregation in price and the project, and monthly and weekly. So flat pricing is something that I go for, right? Flat pricing is like, you want this like packaging project done, right? I'm gonna charge you $100. And just it's an example. Don't charge $100 for packaging projects. I'm just giving you an example. $5, okay? I'm gonna charge you $5 for packaging design, right? This is the flat price. It can also go from price brackets. So it can be like from $5 to $10. So with $5, you can get packaging design for one, and for $10, you can get two templates for packaging design. And they're like, you know what? We are going to increase our products. So let's just get another template, just to be very safe about it. So you got another project just because of it. Segregation in price and project. So a lot of people, what they do is, um, the packaging is going to cost you $5, but if you still want illustration that goes to the packaging, the wrapping paper and everything, they're going to charge you plus that. So sometimes it's pretty hard to get all of this into a flat price. But if they feel like, the segregation usually comes with 3 revisions are free, but every revision after 3 revisions goes up $5 each or $2 each, or like 10% of the full rate and everything. So what this does is gives your client that sense of um like fear, like, oh, I cannot just tell the designer to like, let's see more options, let's keep on trying, because clients can do it eternity, right? They can just keep doing it. Let's see more options, let's see more options, kind of thing. So giving them a cut of like first three revisions or first two revisions are free, like first two feedbacks are free. After that, we'll start charging you a small amount every single time. So after that, people are like, you know what, I think we are there, we don't need more revisions. And monthly and weekly, so it's like if you're charging monthly, it's like a salary for you, right? So you have to understand how much work you're putting in. Are your expenses getting paid, like your rent, your electricity bill, your food, even the Adobe, the suit that you have bought, or any other software that you're buying, um, and charge them accordingly, and plus the value you're bringing, and plus the profits. Always keep a margin for that. So that works pretty well, because when you're charging for value, the price will go up, right? The value is when you have a certain experience or certain skill sets which others don't. And if you have worked with more clients and you are bringing in strategy and good process for the whole project that you are doing, you're increasing the value of the project, and you're increasing their chance to succeed in their own, with their own audience and in their own business. So the more value you bring to the project, the more pricier it will be. And don't shy away from it at all, because you're helping them increase their own business. So don't worry about it. And to be honest, there is no fixed price at all. It can go, this is like an Indian thing, but it can go from like $100 to like $50,000 for a branding project, and even more. We have seen branding or rebrandings like Starbucks just doing like small tweaks of their rebranding for 2 millions or something. So trust me, there is no fixed price. In the end, it's all about what is at stake. As Starbucks is like a big brand, there's a lot at stake. If you do a rebranding which doesn't, like, imagine Starbucks change their color from green to, let's say, pink or something. We couldn't be able to take it. Like, is it the same Starbucks? Is it like a, like, pink is always associated with women's health, or women's brand. So is it like they're changing something? Is it like a sub brand which is going for NGO for women's health, or like what is going on? Imagine Starbucks going for a very kiddish font, a very squiggly wiggly bubbly font, and then they are like, what is this? It will be very hard for consumers to go back to it. So there are a lot of things at stake when you're rebranding more famous brands that are out there. So the more at stake, the more you charge, because it all depends on the audience, and you're going to lose any audience for the client and everything. So trust me, there is no fixed price. You have to be very conscious about how you are charging them. Take everything in account and charge accordingly. If the clients are okay with your price three times in a row, it's time to increase. This is something that I learned about 2 years ago, which really helped me. So I remember just pitching the clients, what I'm gonna charge you XYZ, and they're like, oh, okay, sure. Send the invoice and we'll share the. I'm like, oh, that was fast. Like, just, oh, okay. um, and then I was like, okay. Then I increased the price a bit, like by 5%, and I'm like, so I'm gonna charge you for the next client, right? So I'm gonna charge you ABC this time, and they're like, oh, ABC, all right. I think maybe we can do it. Okay, sure. And I'm like, oh, okay, that means I'm charging less than what they think I can bring to the table. Then I started with an absurd number, and like really absurd number. Like, for example, if their budget is $5, I like $50, I'm going to charge you $50, but I'm here to negotiate. You can always say that I love the project that you guys are offering me to do. um, and I definitely can go down if you feel like. I understand 50 is a lot, but let me know what your budget. And they're like, oh, $50, our budget was just five. um, how low can you go? And I'll be like, just let me know, because I'm going to do this and this and this for you, which is going to affect directly your audience with this. I don't want to change their experience, but enhance it, and just share with them what you're exactly going to do with it. And they're like, oh, okay. I think we can go for 20, and then you're like, great, because I was going to charge them $5 anyways, so about this is like why the process and the whole what you are going to do for them and explaining all of that to them is very important, because they feel like you work in Canva or something, so just make sure that you're explaining them exactly what you're doing and how much effort you're going to put with them, and be genuine with them. So again, it's all about trial and errors. So see what works for you. All clients are different. There are going to be clients who are really great for you, and there are always going to be those with red flags. So you have to understand, slowly talk with them, talk about money with them, get advance payments. I usually go for 50-50, which is 50% of the full payment to book me first, which is non-refundable. So it gives clients a very serious thing to go forward to, like, oh, okay, now we have booked her, it's non-refundable, we are starting to work. Because a lot of people start working and they're like, oh, I don't like your vibe, we are not working with you anymore, and you have already done all the background things for them. So trust me, get 50% advance all the time. um, it's about trial and error. Make sure you're creating SOWs, which is statement of works. If you're starting freelancing, statement of work is great. It just shows you the milestones you are going to catch with the client. Basics, you're going to getting paid, revisions, if they are paid, increase anything in rates and time and everything. If the work is going to go over a month, you're going to start adding interest to it, and da, da, da. You will get a lot of SOWs. What do you say? Dummy SOWs online. So just check dummy SOWs for designers, or templates, or just contracts for designers or something, and you'll find it. Don't worry. I understand this might be like, oh my god, this is too much. I know it's not easy, but it's not that difficult. So don't worry about it. The more you do it, the easier it would be for you. And as we say, like, design is a silent brand ambassador of your brand. So create your own branding for yourself so that people understand what you can give and what your services are, so that it's easier for them to come to you for a certain service that you are providing. So yeah, that's it for today. If you feel like reaching out, you can come and say hi on the social handles. And I'm always up for a good talk about Star Wars or something. So yeah,
So
thank you so
fun,
much.
so
Thank
much.
you
I
so much.
enjoy very much. I enjoy
I
very
love
much.
the
Oh, I'm
So
glad.
presentation style.
No,
Yeah,
thank you.
it
Thank
was
you so
very
much.
nice.
so
We
awesome. We can start taking some more questions. I know we are a little over the time for the QA,
Really?
but
Sure.
yeah, it's okay. But it's really nice. We don't want it to stop here. We do have some questions, and I personally have my question to add on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jane, do you want to take over, or should I go for the
you can
first
go ahead and
question?
ask your question.
Mm-hmm. So, Brenda, are you still here with us? No, Brenda lived, but she lived this question. Like she said,
Mm-hmm.
I think most of um the participants here, I think they might have this question as well. Like personally, I do. She asked, Brenda said, "Thank you for putting this amazing event. Did you wait for having more experience to go into freelance work? And what is your day-to-day like with different projects?" But okay, the first question is, what how confident is, one feel to jump into becoming a freelance, taking freelance project? How would
Mm-hmm.
you respond to this? Because I personally also have that felt like feeling like,
Mm.
how comfortable am I to take on those projects?
Right.
To
I
Yeah.
think for freelancers, I think being comfortable is about the money security first. So for me, I saved up. So a lot of, even my mentor, when I just started out, right, he told me the same thing, that have 6 months of savings with you, just in case things go wrong and you don't get clients. So first of all, have savings with yourself, which really helped me, because I didn't get clients for a month, which helped me because I had savings, so I didn't have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about it, and I can completely focus on marketing. And of course, as freelancer, you do invest in a lot of gadgets, your own stuff, which also does help with the savings. And second of all, have at least 2 to 3 clients with you when you're leaving the 9 to 5, if you feel like it, if you're doing the 9 to 5, but have 2 to 3 clients already when you're starting out. So I transitioned very slowly. So I was still working as my, the full job that I was working,
Mm-hmm.
but I was working as a freelancer on the side. And when I left the job, I had the freelance clients, to keep me engaged and to get my day-to-day money. So I think the confidence came from there, that yeah, okay, I'll be okay, I have the clients. So yeah.
But what about the experience? Like, do you say like you are in this industry for like 2 to 3 years now, and then I'm
Mhm.
comfortable enough to take on this project aside from my 9 to 5 work or becoming a full-time? Like, how would you define
Yeah.
that
So I think
experience?
that just, I mean, that transition is going to be a bit tough. It might have a bit more stress than usual, but it's just going to make sure that you transition well. So I used to work after I used to come back from the office. And sometimes during the office hours when we didn't have much work going on, or if we were doing some other activities, as to just do the freelance work at that point and just keep the clients going well. And at that time I used to just take one client at the time because I had my 9 to 5 job. But slowly I started to build the trust, and they're like, oh, we want you for on board for more things. And then I left the job and I started the retainer clients for the freelancing. So experience does come the more you do it. So I think the transition would be a bit tough when you're just starting out, but it will get easier once you start, getting into it for sure.
Yeah, I
Got
agree. It gets better like the more you do it. So what would you say, like how is your first like client meeting? I know that's like a scary situation for a lot of people, like just the first time sitting down with the client and
Yeah.
finally like getting ready to like talk to them. What
You
was
know
it like for
what?
you?
What I did, I think it was a very smart move on my end, was like I told my the founders of the agency that I used to work with 9 to 5. I told them to take me on meetings, uh, because I just told them I would love to just sit on
it.
one corner and get the minutes of the meetings down for you guys. Because I'm going to work on the projects with them anyway, so I would understand where they are coming from, right, as a designer. So they're like, oh, that sounds great. But in that meetings where they take me and I have to sit in one corner near the plant, I should just understand how they are pitching and what they are saying and how they are creating the relationship. Two people of 22 years of experience in this industry, it was like a front seat to something new for me, like a business negotiation, and I was like, oh, this is so great. And that really helped me. And when it was my time to do all of that, I should just mirror them, whatever they did, I did, at that time. So I think just don't go directly into pitching if it's like a first time you're meeting somebody. So we are here for the business. No, 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 no. Don't do that. So how are you? How was your day?
Mm-hmm.
Start with some ice breaking conversations, make them a bit more comfortable with you. Or like you can just say, oh, that shirt, I have the same shirt, or like something, I think we are matching our sun like glasses today, or something. Make them very at ease with you. And for sure that will help you, get the tone set for it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We do have another. So the second question from Brenda, totally forgot about that. So she asked about what is your day to day like with, having multiple projects at the same time. So,
I mean, I usually now just take about 2 or 3 projects a month. Sometimes it's just one project a month, depending on how big of the project it is. If I'm putting like my whole day towards that one project, then it's just like one project a month. Now that I have my own small studio, which we hire, it's an independent studio, so I do hire a lot of people for a project that we are doing. So, for example, when FIFA was there, like last year, we worked on a lot of FIFA assets for Budweiser, through Budweiser, because Budweiser was their sponsor, and they
mhm,
hire us for like a lot of social media that we were doing for them. So at that point, I had a lot of designers, animators under me. So at that time, I just had like one client going on because it took most of my time, anyways. So yeah, it's just um, I think a lot of meetings goes into it, a lot of
mhm,
planning, and a lot of designing for sure.
interesting. Because you're already handling such a big project, I feel
Yeah,
like you should take the whole focus and the team
yeah,
on
for
that
sure. But I
project.
would also say, like, people who are just starting out, even I do it till now. I think keep 1 hour every day to market yourself out there. So 1 hour, just go on social medias, just say hi, hellos, create networks, post your work, comment on other people's work, send connection requests to people. Just 1 hour. Keep it like, make some breakfast, coffee, snacks, whatever you have, and just go on social media and just do work on that end. I think it will help you for sure.
That's a good point. Also, like throughout their whole presentation, I was like, the visuals are amazing. I love the visuals and the animations and everything.
Oh, thank you.
So I was wondering, like, where you get your inspiration? Like, what is your creative process like? And also, to follow up, Sarah also asked, where do you post your process?
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you for the first thing. And yeah, I think most of my, maybe like the presentation inspiration comes from my mentor. He does amazing presentations. So if you want more in-depth things, go check out The Future, Chris Doe in the house. He is amazing. And he was my mentor for like 2 years. And I remember learning so much from him. So his presentations are always amazing, right? And he is like 2 Emmy Award winner, and he's worked with like, oh my god, Coldplay and like Audi and
Wow.
everyone, and he is just amazing. So I love how he presents himself and his presentations and everything. So for sure that helps. And for me, the process is, I talk about my process a lot on my Instagram, a lot. I do a lot of live sessions with a lot of designers and illustrators anyways. On my Instagram, I'm very active there. So yeah, I think most of my process, the work that I do, is mostly there on Instagram for sure. Behance and then LinkedIn. So yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Do we have other more questions? It's the time you can ask our speaker, Matt, today before we close up the session, because we're a little
Come
over
on,
time now.
guys.
Come
Yeah,
on,
I think
guys,
we are
ready?
over
Okay.
time. If you have
Yeah.
any questions, feel free to ask. Come on.
Unmute.
Hi,
Feel free to unmute as well.
Yes.
Ask.
I have a question.
Hi.
So, I'm trying to break into the UX industry, and I feel like I have my process and my design UX design research skills ready, but in the job market, it's not working real well. So I'm looking to like be a freelancer, and I have this question: how do like new UX designers, researchers break into freelancing if we don't have experience? Because a lot of the response I got from employers are saying like, you don't have experience, so we don't trust you. So
Yeah, that happens.
how do we
Yeah, I think,
do with
you
that?
know what? If you have like the work ready and everything, just have good amount of case study done somewhere. I've seen a lot of UI UX designers doing their case study on Medium. Medium, the article website.
Yep.
So you can just go on Medium as well and just check out what people have done. I've seen a lot of people getting hired because of their Medium articles and their Medium case studies. Just check out what they are doing and kind of see if you can replicate that process for yours. If they are doing it for like a travel UX thing, you can just do it for whatever you are doing for, and see if that works. I think a lot of case studies, process is very important for clients. When it comes to their experience, they are saying that you don't have experience, as in like you have not worked with the clients before, but because they cannot see your process very clearly, like how you're going to solve their problems, right? So first of all, what you can do is go for a lot of agencies and studios, reach out to them, say that I'm a freelancer, these are my case studies, I would love to get your insight and work with you, like be as an intern for a project or something. I know like one or two of your projects are going to be less paid or not paid at all, but you're getting paid through experience because of that, right? So once your experience mark is done, you can start you know getting high price for the projects that you've done. And trust me, yes, for UI UX, it's more, even for branding, I think people do want more experienced people, because they know that you have done it before, like professionally, and rather than not just for yourself. So if they can pay you through experience, some agencies or some studios, great, go for it. And then you can start charging more, because then now you have experience.
So what kind of agency do you mean? Like,
Mhm.
do you mean recruiters or
No,
like,
creative agencies, like design
oh,
agencies, design
design
studios.
agencies?
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you where do we find them? Are they like available in LinkedIn or like
Come on, Google, LinkedIn. You can just search like design agencies in your area or
design
something.
agency? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just you can just be, or even if it's not in your area and you feel like Pentagram, right? Or Pentagram does amazing work, and I would love to work with Michael Beirut. He's an amazing designer. Reach out to them. I would love to become a remote illustrator for you guys, for project basis. These are my rate cards. Let's just talk, because they are always looking for fresh talent, and clients, when they come to those agencies and those design studios, they feel like, for example, Maitreyi is giving them illustrations for all these years. It's going to be the same style, right, for all their
Mm.
clients, and they are always looking for fresher perspectives. So trust me, design agencies are looking for newer talent, fresher talents. It's just if you are the right fit or not. So I would suggest for you, if there are design agencies that you absolutely love, right, their work that you have seen in real life and actually went on the website and you're like, oh, this is built so beautifully, you can see which design agency has done that. You can reach out to them and their CEO or their creative director, and just be very genuine, open, without asking anything in return. Just say, I'm a fellow UI UX website illustrator, whatever designer, and I absolutely love the project that you've done with XYZ. It was so amazing. I loved this about it. The colors you have used, the layout, that was. Be very genuine and be interested about it. If you're in town, let's catch up for a coffee. Are there any meetups that your company does? Are there events that I can attend, because I'm really interested in working with you? Are you recruiting? Start asking questions very slowly, because they get bombarded by, I want to work with you every single day, trust me. So be genuine, create networks first, and just say, I love your work. I would love to know how you have done it. I'm really genuinely interested on this part of the project that you've done. It's just beautifully executed. And
Mm.
just start a good relationship, like a good friendship with them. And do you do mentoring sessions? I would love to learn from you. And they'd be kind of flattered, who wouldn't be? And slowly you can just ask, would love to intern under you. If there is an opportunity, this is my work, you can just check out the case study. If you're not hiring right now, I understand, but I would love your fresher perspective, as someone I look up to for the projects that I've done. So I think that would really help you get your foot into the business for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
No worries.
That's a really good advice. Matt, I have a
Yeah.
question. Sorry,
Mhm.
there's so many questions today, but like I do have a question. What's your thought on, for someone like Yan 10 earlier, he
Mhm.
mentioned like how to, get into this industry and becoming a freelancer, with little experience in this industry. What's your
Mhm.
thought on doing some like free effort, like free work ahead,
Mhm.
ahead? Like for example, I go to this startup. I notice they have little to like less than 100 followers on LinkedIn, and I'm seeing that their websites are really sketchy. And I help
Yeah.
out to create a new website, redesign for their website, and then I
Mhm.
approached to the CEO or whoever runs that company and said like, hey, I noticed that you might not have opened up the role, but I did this for you, and I'm just curious if you are looking for some collaboration in the future.
Mm.
What's your thought on doing this extra effort? Because people
Yeah.
talk about fair payment and stuff, but what's your thought on little
Yeah, like,
experience but eager to get
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's never free. So you're never working for free. I say you do get something in return always, even if it's not money. For sure, when your money is very important, because you're working for money, you're not volunteering, of course. But if you don't have the experience, like he said, I think getting paid via experience is also amazing, because your work is actually for a client, right? So when you're working for free, like for experience with somebody, right, you can just work with them on your terms then, right? So if you want a website built for you, for your company, I'll do it for free, which is great for startups, right? But make sure you do actually believe in that idea. And I would do it for free for you, but within like 2 weeks or like 3 weeks, on some of my terms, like one revision or something. You can't go out of the way like you would for any other client because they're paying you. And sometimes when these people don't, when the industries, you're just getting into an industry as a startup, you don't have funds, so anything is great for you. And you can just tell them like, I'll work on this. When you have the money, we can, amp it up a bit, we can update it and make a 2.0 version of it. um, so I would just love to do like a very rough basic idea for you, and there you have it. You have your first client. The website is actually out there, something that you worked on your terms, right? Show them some experience, like some websites you've already built. It can be through Framer, it can be through anything that you've worked on. And yeah, I think you have, if you're getting experience out of it. If you had no experience at all, then great. If you have experience, then I would suggest charge small amount for sure, because then they will exploit you really bad. If you feel like you want to work for free for the client, then make a contract, have it on your terms, because then for free, there is no limit for clients to exploit you. So make sure there are some rules when you're working for free.
Awesome. Nice.
Okay.
That's all
Yeah.
we got today. So
Okay.
thank you so very
Thank you
much.
so
Oh,
much
Courtney,
for taking.
Are you
Uh,
going to? Yeah.
yeah, I did have a question earlier, but I think it was basically the same as Yang's, which is about how can you
Nice.
get into
Mm-hmm.
UX when when
Right.
you need that experience.
Yeah.
And if you could get freelance clients as a beginner. But another thing I was wondering about is as a freelancer, either in UX or any other type of design role, honestly, how much do you actually end up working? I mean, other freelancers, how many hours do you end up putting in compared to what you're putting into your 9 to 5? Are you doing more?
Right.
Are you doing less? Is it really up to how each individual chooses to manage their time and, essentially your own business? Is it
Yeah.
possible to have a successful freelance career and work part-time?
Yeah, for sure. I've been doing freelancing for 5 years straight now, which is amazing. And I absolutely love it. It takes some time for you to get used to the work-life balance as a freelancer. But trust me, it's like in the end, it's like a business for you, right? And the abroad clients you get, the more outside of your own country clients you get, the time zones are going to differ. So definitely you will work sometimes more. But in the end, you're working for yourself, right? So as a freelancer, what I usually do is sometimes in a year, I just take a month off, to just do my own thing, just create something that I would love to do for myself, just travel or something. So that is like the pros and cons of it. And once you start finding the good balance around it, it's really great. And like I said, you can just say bye to the clients whenever you feel like it. Trust me, I've said a lot of byes to the clients where I've thought like they are very toxic. So that's another great thing. And if you feel like the next month I just want to calm myself down and just work on one client, you can do that. And the next month, if you feel like, what, I can take on more clients than I feel like it, you can do it. But it's when it comes to your own baby, like this is going to be your own business, you're going to work a bit more than normal, but you're going to work for yourself. So it's going to be more satisfying than when you work a 9 to 5. So it will take you some time to get used to the idea. And yes, it is completely possible for you to create a very professional, long term, successful freelance business. It will take time. It's not a one night thing for sure. But yeah, it's completely possible for sure.
So do you feel like you kind of work um, about like 40 hours or a little over? And do other designers that freelance usually do about the same?
Yeah. I mean, I would say some people have done way more, because I know a lot of illustrators who does mural work, right? Who goes into cafes and paint street arts out in. They are even hired by Nike to do the outside, like the billboard, to paint outside, and for that it just takes more. There are a lot of, oh my God, the work I did with Samsung, right? It was the TV commercial that I sketched out, mood boarded, storytelling, and art directed. For that, I worked 2 weeks. Sorry, not even 2 weeks, 11 days or 12 days. Yeah, just 12 days, because we had like short amount of time. Uh, and I just had like 3 hours of sleep every day,
Wow.
because the times are pretty short, and the Samsung people were online from South Korea, because they are there. The Indian Samsung team was from here. The agency was from India, but there were creative directors who were from the US. So the time zones were like just switching up and down. Because I was an art director on that project, I had to be up all the time. But after that 2 weeks, I just took the next 2 weeks off of the month and just recharged a bit. So it's like you're getting the hype of working with better, bigger clients for more money. It's just like the whole month that you would work for a certain amount of money, you're just getting it in
Right.
2 weeks,
Yeah.
right? Or like 11 days. So it's a very, like, that's the thing I'm telling you. Freelance doesn't have the stability, but it has the satisfaction, you know.
Because
So
you're
you
working on
would,
something you enjoyed working on,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then you can fully take off like
yeah,
after
for
that
sure.
project.
For sure. I've also seen people who are building websites, right? So they just get one client per month. They just create that one website within a week for them, which is like top notch, really good. But they're bringing so much value, so much experience, so much skills, and so much clarity, crispness to the website and the work. They have earned like 2 months of their wage that they would usually, get from a job. So they would just work 1 week or 2 weeks per month, like I did, like continuously with that client. And the next 2 weeks are just off for them to look for the next client, to travel, drink pina coladas on the
Yeah.
beach or something, So it's all about just flexibility. I think you
Right.
don't get freedom, but you get flexibility as a freelancer. So yeah.
Yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, that was kind of really what I was looking to hear. One of the
Yay.
reasons
Okay.
I was looking into doing freelancing was so I'd have the
Mhm.
ability to travel around more. You don't have to ask for time off to go somewhere.
True. I mean, I had a client from Singapore last, uh, I think year end of 2022. And I'm like, you know what? I should just travel to Singapore, because they are based there anyways. So I just checked out Singapore. I was just traveling Singapore and just working with them on the side, because the time zone was same. I could just go and meet them. So it was great. I was working as well, and I could travel as well. So I think it was a good opportunity. So I think it's the flexibility that you can get about it. So that's great.
And I just have one last question for you. So
Sure.
how long were you working for? How long were you working as a designer for until you were comfortable enough to go off on your own?
For 2 years. I worked with them for 2 years. And the first year, I was like, I'm just going to work with them for 1 year, full time. But then I found out I don't have the skills to become a freelancer. So the next year that I worked with them, I was very strategic about it, thinking about the skills that I would need. First is like the pitching skills. So I told them, take me with to meetings with you, which solved that problem. I understood a lot of things and how I can do that. Second was how I can charge. I was just going about getting new clients from friends, family first. And then I went on LinkedIn, where I got a lot of my clients, and was just like, oh, you want a logo in like peanuts, right? Just pay me peanuts and I'll just do a logo for you. And where that I understood like how the process of the filing works, or contracts work, or it was just an experience I was getting paid at that moment. So I just worked with them for 2 years. But those 2 years I was just building my freelance background. When I left the company, I could just go boom, So yeah.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. I really think like freelance is like everyone should have, focus on this career a little bit, as now we have more in control with our life. We want more quality. People that don't want routines,
Hmm.
freelance is really a good like career to think of. I really think
It
like for people
is for sure.
want more ambitious and quality time in their life, I think freelance is really
Yeah.
accessible, and
I
especially
mean,
now social media is so accessible for everyone.
yeah, another thing, I mean, again, everything has its pro and cons, right? So when everybody usually gets free, which is around 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. in the evening, like my friends here usually, oh, let's go for a drink or let's go for dinner or something. I am not usually free
I
because the
know.
clients across the globe, they are awake for me to get on calls. So it all depends, it all depends. And if you feel like you want more stability when you're doing freelancing, you can always go back to 9 to 5. You can just show all of this experience that you have gotten and go for even a higher role, because as a freelancer, you have worked with a team continuously switching on and off. That means you understand how to just camouflage in any team, right? Make sure you have all your skill set listed down and you can get a job anytime you want. So don't worry about that. And you can always
Totally.
go back and forth. You don't have to do like a freelance all the time. You can be
Yeah.
like a full-time freelancer for some agency, like I did recently for, again, Oliver Agency. They are amazing. Again, they are a big award-winning thing. And I was like, you know what, I should just try it out, the 9 to 5 again, to see. So yeah, I did it for 2 months and it was amazing. So you can just keep going on and off about it. So yeah.
Totally. You always have a choice to close the state. You always have a choice. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Matt. Look how many people are still with us. See how people really,
Thank you so
really
much
enjoy
for staying.
chat.
It was amazing
Right.
talking with all of you.
Thank you so much, and
We really
hope
appreciate
everyone learned a lot from. We would love to have Matt back with us again next time. We can talk about something deeper on like how to talk about your project, how to sell the pitch. Like we can talk about those stuff. But let us know how you feel about this session tonight with us. But have a good evening over there. Have a nice day. Thank you so much, Matt, with us, and we'll hope to see you next time with us again.
Thank you so much for sticking around for till the end of the session.
Yeah,
Bye,
so
everybody.
many
It
people
was
stayed.
nice.
Was
It was amazing talking with all of you. And
Right.
feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or something if you have questions. It will take me some time to reply, but I will get there. Don't worry.
the
So,
1 hour, the 1 hour for networking.
yeah.
Can you send your LinkedIn file, LinkedIn link, so we can connect?
Yeah, hold on. I'll just share it with you in the comments here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So even on LinkedIn, I'm available, but I think I'm most available on Instagram.
Okay.
So I'll just share that as well. I've shared both of my links in the comments.
Okay.
So yeah, it was amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for hosting me, both of you. It was amazing talking with you and going on nostalgic music trips with you. It was great.
Check out 2000 music, love songs, Spotify playlist.
Well,
thank you so much, Matt. Have a nice day over there. We'll see everyone next week then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great evening.
Thank you so
Have a good day over there.
Hey everyone, on behalf of IterateUX, we'd like to thank you so much for watching this week's session. If you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe. We'll have events every Thursday at 5:30 Pacific Time. Join our Discord in the description to find out more.